All right, today is a fangirl episode over an author and speaker and just superhuman achiever, the one and only David Goggins.
Stay tuned because you're going to hear some of our biggest ahas and lessons from David Goggins and his book, Can't Hurt Me.
Do you want what you want sooner rather than later? Do you find yourself growing more effectively in environments where people are growing alongside you? Well, we have the conference for you.
Do you love going to events as much as we do? Then you want to be in the room for the Further Faster conference happening October 29th and October 30th in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Now, the Further Faster conference is headlined by our dear friend, mentor, and business partner, Joseph McClendon III. And trust us, you're going to want to be in the room.
This is 2 days jam-packed of material that will help you grow personally and professionally. And if you're wondering how to make $1 million in 10 years, you have to be in the room to hear the strategy that Joseph is going to share. It is phenomenal.
Go to neuroencoding.com/FFC to learn more about the Further Faster conference coming at the end of October.
We hope to see you in Vegas. And now back to the show.
You're enjoying this episode on Angel Fenix Productions Podcast Network. To explore a complete lineup of quality programs and media production services, head on over to angelphoenix.com or like our Facebook page at facebook.com/Angel Fenix Productions.
Okay, so Can't Hurt Me was a recent read for the two of us, and boy, was that an impactful one.
It is enthralling is the first and foremost word that I would use to describe.
Intense.
Yeah, it is such an interesting story, and it is intense, and it is enthralling, and it is absolutely worth listening to. And that is how we would recommend that you consume this book. It is available on Audible, and you look it up, Can't Hurt Me. And what they do in the Audible version of this book is that it is read by the ghostwriter, the person that he partners with in order to bring forward his story. But then on the in-between and throughout each chapter, you hear the ghostwriter and David Goggins drop out of the narration and into kind of a live podcast format where they're digesting and talking about it even further. And so it really adds this beautiful dimension of understanding to the book and to the story. But David Goggins, if you've never heard of him before, he is a former Navy SEAL, an Army Ranger, an ultra athlete, ultra marathoner, a high achieving, physical, top peak son of a gun. And what he says in his book is that he has really strived feels right.
I think strived is right.
Yeah. He's really strived to become. Yeah, Stroven.
All right, family, you're here for a real system moment.
He has really sought to achieve the status of being uncommon amongst the uncommon. And that might resonate for some of you. It definitely resonated for Kay and I. We know you want to be uncommon, but even for some of us, there's that drive and desire to be uncommon, even among the uncommon. And hearing someone's tale of how they've done that and their life story is, well, as we said, enthralling.
Right. So kind of one of the major disciplinary headliners here is that before David Goggins joined the Navy SEALs in his mid-20s, that he was a 300-pound gentleman who was a rat exterminator for local restaurants and stores. And he was completely undisciplined in his life. He was undisciplined in his eating and in his exercising, but he had this dream. He actually saw a docuseries about the Navy SEALs and cultivated this dream of becoming a Navy SEAL. Now, the hill to climb for him, being a 300-pound guy with all of these bad habits in place, was really freaking steep. And so he decides to become basically addicted to pain. He's like, I just want to be the hardest guy ever. And I just want to be so good at being disciplined. And I want to be addicted to pain, because as we talked about in Monday's episode, discipline is painful, and having to get yourself to do things that you don't want to do isn't necessarily the easiest and most fun thing in the world. But this guy at 300 pounds, rat catching, terrible habit structures, his change that he had to take was so radical that it required extreme discipline in order to get it done.
Now, part of the reason that he's addicted to pain is because he had an extremely painful and intense upbringing in childhood. And we'll leave it to you to listen to the story. Don't worry, it is absolutely worth listening to. he clearly survives, right? We're talking about the book, but it's an intense childhood. And so you might be the kind of person who says, yeah, but you don't know what I've gone through. This is the book for you because it helps you see that no matter what, there can be this level of achievement that you've probably never even dreamed of. Now, David brings forward in the book this idea that we are all in a constant battle between comfortability and performance. And don't let the word performance fool you, right? When we talk about performance, it's not just about athletic performance. This is performance on a test. This is performance in a relationship. This is performance in your spiritual practice. This is performance in your showing up with your kids or even again in your physical practice. But that idea that there's this comfortable on one side and then there's your ultimate performance on the other. And we are all battling in between these. And when you read a story like David's, you realize you might not need to go to the level that he's gone to, like running 100 miles on broken feet. That's not an exaggeration, but you definitely have a lot of room that you could improve that would vastly take you towards that level of performance.
Now here in Discipline Week, we've loved getting to share some stories about ourselves, some stories about others. And tomorrow we're going to talk a little bit about one of our core tenet discipline principles, which is our non-negotiables and something that's really helped us to stay disciplined. But got to put it in here. David Goggins, if ever you listen to this, man, you are one hard mofo.
Yeah, stay hard. That's how you sign off every video. You have done that, my friend. We respect you. We admire you. We appreciate you. And we highly recommend that all of you listen to his book, Can't Hurt Me.
We'll see you in tomorrow's episode.
This podcast was a production of Angel Phoenix Productions. Explore more episodes of this show or other great shows on the Angel Phoenix Podcast Network by visiting angelphoenix.com. The views expressed in this show do not necessarily represent those of Angel Phoenix Productions or its advertisers and may contain language that's unsuitable for younger listeners.